Hello everyone, welcome. So in the previous video, we had spoken about the goals of scientific research. And in this video, what we will be talking about is the steps in conducting scientific research. So to talk about the steps in conducting scientific research, science is especially defined by its manner of investigation. So now when I talk about a scientific method, to say that that particular method is scientific method, it requires the study of particular events or phenomena in a form where it is objective based, where it is testable and systematic manner. So three things are important when I talk about the steps. It should have an objective, it should be testable, and it should be systematic. That is, it should follow an order. Now, if I say objectivity, so what is objectivity? It refers to the fact that if two or more persons independently study a particular event, both of them, to a great extent, should arrive at the same conclusion. So there is an objective. So if you start from your home, you will reach school. So whoever starts from their home, they're supposed to reach school at that particular time. So there is supposed to be an objectivity. Okay. Next, after objectivity that we have is testable. So now testable would mean what? It refers to the study of psychological events or phenomena which can be examined or measured. So it should be testable. Okay. Are questions like does God exist, or do people get infected by evil eye, testable questions? Can you validate it? Can you really say God exists or not? So testable would mean there should be a validation. It should be a valid question, right? So that is something. And then after that, we have it as systematic. So when I say systematic, then it follows steps. Like what are the steps that we have whenever we conduct scientific research? First is conceptualizing a problem. Next, collection of data, drawing conclusion and revising research conclusions and theory. So these are the steps that is involved. So that is why it is systematic. So I told about three things. One, scientific research should have an objective, should know what am I going to study. And if I query, I question on that particular question, most of the people who are answering should have a similar answer or should come down to a similar conclusion. That is when I say that there is an objective. Second, what I said it should be testable. So when I talk about objectivity, I am always telling that there has to be a reason for that. Next, when I say testability, I am saying that it should be valid. The question that is queried has to be valid. So, validation is required. Okay. And next, we have scientific research. It should be systematic. It should follow steps after steps. So, what are the steps? First, you conceptualize a problem, what the problem is. Next, you start collecting data on that. Then you draw a conclusion and revise research conclusions and theory. So the whole thing rotates around this area wherein we have it as first conceptualizing a problem, selecting a topic for study. What is that you want to study? Okay. As I was telling you, music, whether music is affecting the behavior or not. What do you do? Next, you start collecting the data. You bring in participants. You find out what is the method that you should be using. What are the tools? What is the procedure that is required? So that is collecting the data. It includes all the materials and methodology, the participants, everything into that. Then what you do, you come to a conclusion. So when you come to a conclusion, it should be valid. Okay, so you are using statistical data, statistical methods for it, and then you are revising research conclusion, restating the existing hypothesis, formulating revised or a new theory. So this is a continuous process. So now that new theory, new hypothesis that you have designed becomes your next problem. Okay? Now, first, we are coming to them one by one. First one is conceptualizing a problem. When I say about conceptualizing a problem, the researcher selects a theme. Okay, here she narrows down the focus, develops scientific research questions or problems for the study. This is done basis on a preview of past research, observations, personal experiences, and the rest. So, after identification of the problem, the researcher proceeds by developing a tentative answer of the problem, which is called hypothesis. So, it is not an answer, but you think that is the answer. So, that is called as hypothesis. Next, what happens? We have made a hypothesis. Now, next, what happens? You start collecting the data. So once you start collecting the data, what are the things first you should be collecting? You should start collecting the participants in the study. So they can be physical participants, like you can have human that has been there. Next, how you are going to collect the data? Are you going to ask questions and then put it down, or you're going to give a questionnaire? What is the, or whether it's a discussion, so what is the method of data collection? So we are going to come one by one in the coming up videos. Next, what are the tools that is used? Again, if you are using a questionnaire, then in that case the questionnaire itself becomes the tool. So there if suppose you are going to collect some kind of ECG data or something like that, then those are the tools which will be required. And the procedure for data collection, how are you going to collect the data? Just within this two, a small revision questions that we have here. A research begins with a dash which is narrowed down into a dash. So how does a research begin? So a research would always begin with, we had it here earlier. So research always begins with a problem and it comes into a hypothesis or conclusion. Okay. So a research begins with a problem which is narrowed down into a conclusion. Thereafter, a tentative answer is developed, which is called hypothesis. The correctness of this is not known. The next step is collection of data for which decisions like the participants, methods, uh, those things have to be made. Now what happens is you are trying to draw conclusion. So you have collected the data. Data collected, it is analyzed statistically. So just not like, yes, doing this or doing that. So statistical analysis of the data is done. Okay. And data mean in order to verify the hypothesis and to draw conclusions. So this can be achieved either graphical representations like pie chart, bar diagram, frequency, or different statistical tests that we have, ANOVA, chi-square test, and all those things can be used. Significance values can be used. Now, revising the research conclusion, hypothesis, or theory. So, now, once that is done, once researchers has to check whether the conclusion supports the hypothesis. So once it supports the hypothesis, if they do, the existing hypothesis or theory is confirmed. So now it is confirmed. So I have a confirmation, say music is going to affect the behavior of a child. If not, he or she will have to revise. Say if I did not get something like this as a conclusion, I have to revise it. And that becomes my new problem, and I will have to continue research in that manner. Okay, so now just to state, what did we just study? This is the way in which theories are developed and hence researches are done. So this is known as hypothetico-deductive model. So this is hypothetico-deductive model. So these are the things that we have. Now just to bring down to you few examples of scientific inquiry in psychology. Now you see, this is a study of smartphone addiction and effects on perceived stress in medical students in a hospital in central India. So what did they do? They first stated the problem. Okay. So based on the background, they are stating the problem. So usage of smartphone is on the rise. Not top exclude medical students. Stress among medical students is also known due to various reasons. So there is a study to assess addiction to smartphones in medical students and its relation to the perceived stress in them was planned in a tertiary care hospital in central India. So there are aims. So there is an objective of the study that has taken place. There are two aims of the study that we have. So study hours of phone and social media use and smartphone addiction, and second is to study the levels of stress. So after this, what they did? After this, they went for data collection. Okay, collection of data. So they understood what is the method of the study and the data collection. Then there was an analysis of the data. So there was a tabulation, statistical analysis was being done. Data was tabulated and analyzed. Okay. So then after that, what is the statistical method they use? They use the mean score. And then after that, they finally came to conclusion. This is another one that we have. Herein, again, psychology, distress and resilience among transgenders. So they have stated a problem. After stating the problem, second, what they said, they are going to collect data collections was taken. So there was an objective. Data was collected using survey method, Kessler psychological distress scale and resilience scale. This is the material they had used. And then there was 105 transgenders. These are the number of participants they took. Then there was an analysis where there is ANOVA and t-test that was being done. And the findings of the study showed, so they are coming to a conclusion. And then if required, there is revising of the same. So now this is how the research goes on. Okay. So here we had basically talked about the scientific inquiry. So we have talked about the four points here, wherein we said you conceptualize a problem, you then collection of the data, that is the next step, drawing a conclusion using statistical method, and revising research and conclusion. So that's it in this video. Thank you.